Okay. Well, thank you for coming. Thank you for attending that session. My name is Javier Gomez. I started with Joomla not being a programmer, so I was a non-programmer, and I became interested in programming. So now, I'm a programmer, and I have contributed some code. So I would love if in that session you get interested in programming, and maybe in 1 year or in 2 years you are contributing new features to the Joomla project. It's easy. You don't need to, programming is usually seems like a weird thing, a scary thing, but it's really easy, and I'm going to try you to make you feel comfortable with that thing that it's called code. So, well, one of the first things that we are going to do is like, do you know when you buy a car and you go to your neighbor and you say, hey, I have bought a car, look at this, oh, that's beautiful, and let me show you the engine, and you see the engine and you think, oh, that's a really cool engine, but I have no idea what's inside. So this is more or less Joomla, no? Yeah, this is a cool thing, I can do a lot of things, but I have no idea how things works inside. So how many of you have checked the folders that are inside your Joomla? When you, yeah? Wow, a lot of people. So let me ask you a question. Who knows, this is a normal Joomla installation. So the first folder that I can see there, I'm going to try to make it bigger. Yeah, the first folder that I can see there is called administrator. Who of you know what's inside? What's inside? More folders, yeah, sure. The backend. Yes. Excellent. So when you go to the Joomla backend, you put /administrator. And it appears a screen that asks you for your user and your password. That's inside that folder. Okay, let's see all the folders. For example, I have one here that it's called cache. Who of you thinks to know what's inside? No? Well, there's a place for storing cache files. Do you know that you can cache your Joomla in order to be faster? So Joomla does that for you and stores files there. Well, there's other folders that we don't really need to go into it, all of them. But I have one here that it's called language. It's this one. And I'm going to get into it. And this is almost empty. I have only one folder called NGB. Does anyone knows what means NGB? What?
English from Great Britain.
Okay, that's the ISO code for meaning English from Great Britain. So that means if I install English from United States, does anyone know the name that it's going to have this folder? Good. So what's inside this folder? Okay, we have a lot of files with the extension ENE. And if we check the names, for example, the first is ngb.com contact, com content, com finder, com media, com messages. So you don't need to be a programmer to understand that this are the translations of every component or things or extensions that we install in Joomla. For example, if I open the com content, let's see what I find. That's one. Okay, for example, here are constant or let's say variables, and the variable called content author filter label has a string test that says author filter. So here you have a lot of variables, and the value in English from Great Britain. For example, com content feed read more is the read more. But I can change that very easy. How many people in that room are not from the States? Not from United States? Okay. Not many of you, I think that not many of you have tried to translate or install other language than English. Maybe yeah, hopefully yeah. We have this language manager, and I don't know if you have seen that option that it's called overrides. Overrides is going to do a very cool thing. Let me move back to language, overrides. In the folder language overrides, there's nothing right now. But here I have this tool that allows me to search for things that I want to change or to adapt. For example, read more. Should do that in 2.5. Maraike, what I'm doing wrong?
You renamed it.
You renamed the folder of the file.
Okay, I will do that later, sorry. I'm going to do that by hand, just to show you how it works. If I get that, for example, that name of that variable that says equal to error, so error is error, I can grab that, and I can create here an override file that overrides the text of the other file. What's the meaning of that? Joomla is always ready for you to override things. Not only templates, not only code, not only, it's ready for override even languages. So you can do your own, instead of saying read more, you can set there read more of that news, for example. You can change all that text. And Joomla, the way it works, it always try to find if you have modified something, and if not, then it will go to the normal place for find the language. For example, if I override the com content, it will try to find if I have modified something in the override folder, and if not, it's going to go back to the ngb folder and find the variable value. This is complicated, but let me continue to show all that stuff. I'm back to the administrator. And if you check the URL, it's very far away, but it says /administrator/index.php, and what's question mark? Yeah. Option equal com languages. I'm going to show you something. I'm going back to my folder structures. I'm going to go inside to administrator folder. I'm going to go into the components folder. And here I have a lot of names. Com admin, com banners, com cache, com categories, com config. Let me show you something. What if in the URL I said that the option is com categories? We are going to the category manager of Joomla. So what I'm doing actually is loading the content inside that folder, com categories. Let's try, for example, the com Joomla update. Com no updates available. Let's try now the content, for example. What I see is the content manager. So what I want you to understand is that this URL is understood by Joomla, and it sends you to the right folder where the information needs to be shown. What's inside the content folder? We are going into the content. That content, as you have seen, is the content that shows the articles. So the content in the Joomla. What's inside that component content? Well, inside there's some folders. And how many of you have heard that Joomla is MVC? Yeah? MVC says it's model view controller, and you don't need to learn very much about it. It's a design pattern that says that you have to split the code of the view, of the things that you see, of the controller, that it's the interaction between the user and your software. For example, save, for example, close, for example. This is things that does the controller. And the model is the one that is in charge. I mean, this can go more complicated, but the model is the one in charge to speak with the database, basically. It can do other things. But what you are interested as many of you are designers, is the part of views. Views is the one that keeps the things that you see in the screen. So if you check all the Joomla components, or all of them are built in the model view controller idea. So I can go, for example, to the installer. And I see the extension manager installed that allows me to install new extensions in Joomla. OK, this component, if I check inside, it has, as you expected, a controller folder, a helpers, models, and views. Let's see what's inside views. Inside views, I can see other folders. That says database, default, discover, install, languages, manage, update, and warnings. OK. I don't really understand what. Wait. Install, update, manage, discover, database, warning, install languages. There's some link between the views that I can see and the content inside this folder. So let's, for example, go to install languages. This is the code that I contributed this year to the Joomla project that allows you to install new languages. OK, if I click here, I get a list of languages, and I can select it and install it. This goes to the folder called languages. Probably, I'm guessing. Well, I wrote that code, so I know. What's inside this folder? OK, inside this folder, there's a folder called TMPL. And we have get to the end of all the folders structure finally. And we see some, basically two files. One is called default.php, and the other one is default filters. I don't know if you feel lost. Not by now, so everybody's OK. OK. We are just, remember that we are just checking the engine, and let's see what we find. OK, I'm going to open that default PHP folder. So I was in administrator, components, installer, here, views, languages, TMPL. I'm going to open So what I see here is the code inside that file. There's a lot of weird things. Code. But how many of you know a bit of HTML? So basically what we see here is HTML mixed with some variables that comes from PHP. We will see how this works later, but I just wanted you to, let's try to change things here. I'm going to add an H1 that is a header, and I'm going to say hello. And I'm going to see if I'm modifying the right file. Yeah, when I update, I see the hello. So I'm modifying the right file. I have found the way into the Joomla structure. I have found the right file to modify it, to change things here. You should never do that.
Good advice.
We will see later how we can do that without entering into the problem of the update. So what happens if a new release of Joomla comes and change that file? You're going to lose all the file that you have done. So, but there are ways for you as a designers to do that, and it's called template override. We will see it later. But the next thing I want to show you is to understand what that PHP echo things are happening here. And I have created just a simple PHP code to show it to you. Let me enlarge that. So this is one of the most simple codes you can see in PHP. PHP, as a programmer, you need to always open it, and that's the code to open the PHP, and you should close it like that. So that's a way to make the server understand that the code inside here is PHP and needs to be processed. Okay, and what I have here is a dollar and then a text equal to number 1. When you see a dollar, means that you have here a variable. So you can put information here, that thing, and then I can do things with that variable. Like, for example, do an echo. How many of you know what echo is?
Print.
What does echo?
Print to the screen.
Print to the screen. Okay. So, you are not a programmer. What do you think this code is going to do?
Show number 1.
Let's check it. Yeah, it shows number 1. So if I change that number for 2 and I refresh, I get the number 2. So instead of 2, I want to say hello. I'm going to save. I'm going to refresh. And it says hello. Well, I should get an error that the editor is saying, hey, you did something wrong here. That it's basically that when I want to that value not to be a value, not to be a number, but a string, I need to put it with that. What's the name of that in English?
Quotation.
Quotes. Okay. Okay, so we have done the first step. It was easy, right? At this point, it's easy. Let's move to another example. Well, that's the same example. Let's move to another one. One of the most complicated things of PHP that it's actually very easy to understand is that I can store values in a variable other than just a text or a number. I can store complicated shapes of information. For example, what I have here is an article. A Joomla article has a title, and a Joomla article has a content. for example, well, in that case, article title, I'm putting that, I don't know the name of that in English. Article title is equal to, this is the title of the article. And article content is equal to, this is the content of the article. I have created a variable, but this time I'm saying that this is not just a number or a text, but this is a more complicated thing that it's called a std class, or in our case, let's name it object. So this variable is going to contain an object that at this moment is going to be an article that has a title and a content. Okay. So I'm going to echo the article. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to say, show me that article. Let's see what happens. Now it says, no, I can show you. This is too complicated. Wait. The way to show it is this one. I cannot show an object that it's complicated. How can I show article if it has title and content? I'm sorry, I'm PHP, I'm very cool language, but I don't know how to show complicated information stuff. So this is an object, and what I'm going to show it in that way. I'm going to say echo the title here in between those HTML tags that it's header 1. How many of you know what header 1 is? All of you, right? Okay. And P, what's P? Paragraph. Okay. So I'm going to put the article title. No.
Content.
Hey, good. You're learning very fast. So let's see what happens. Yeah, I have the article title and the content. If I change the title and I refresh, I get the change. Okay, so we have one new way to store information that is called object. That it's the way in the RAM memory of the computer is going to be store that information. And now I'm going to show you a thing that is going to help you a lot. It's a command, a PHP command called Var Dump. What Var Dump is a command that says, give me something and I will try to say you what kind of information is. So I'm going to refresh, and the Var Dump information says this value that you have put here is an object, and it has two things inside. One title, that is this title, and it has content, that is this content. So that's cool, because now you know what was that, but sometimes you don't know what's inside that variable. I'm going to show you later how to use that. Let me move to the last code. I promise this is the last code that you're going to see or you need to learn. And you will have all the tools that you need to do amazing things inside your Joomla. What I'm going to do now is, okay, I had one article, but what if I want to show you a category of articles and I want to show it all of them? Then I need one other kind of way to store information that is called an array. And first of all, I'm going to create the 3 articles, and I'm going to store it in an object. So here I have article 1 title, article 1 content, article 2 title, article 2 content, article 3 title, and article 3 content. And as I told you, I'm going to create another kind of abstract way to store information that is going to contain all the 3 objects. This is going to be an array. An array is one of the most used ways to store information into PHP. How it works? Well, an array is a very complicated thing. We can do a lot of things. But the most easy way to do it for this example is let's going to call articles. So I'm going to have an array called articles that contains article 1, article 2, and article 3. Do I explain myself? Okay. So articles is equal to array. Okay. This is an array. And I'm going to store in the memory the articles 1 is going to be the article 1. The article 2 is going to be the article 2. And the article 3 is going to be the article 3. Articles 3. This is the index. And let me show you how it works. The first thing I'm going to show you is the Var Dump of articles. The Var Dump of articles show me in the screen. This is an array. This is the kind of information. And it contains one object with the title and the content. It contains a second object with the title and the content. And again, it contains a third object with the title and the content. An array can be used like that. Let me echo, let me var dump. Let's say I want to show only the article 1. So the way to do it is var dumping the article in the index, the thing stored in the index in the first position here. See? I can see the first object. But I want to show only the title of that article. Then I do that. I'm only showing the title 1 on the article. This has sense for you? Is a good thing for, I mean, does anyone in this room says, hey, I didn't know that, and that makes easy to understand how this code works. I'm happy. Okay, so what if I want to show all the 3 articles doing a loop? In PHP, there's a very cool instruction that it's called for each. It's like writing in English. It says, for each article inside articles, put the title into H1, into a header 1, and put the content of that article into a paragraph. This instruction is going to, PHP is going to arrive here and is going to see, okay, I have articles. How many articles I have? I have 3. So I'm going to loop 3 times through these. And I'm going to echo the title of the first article and the content of the first article. Then I loop again and I echo the title of the second article and the content of the second article.
Category blog.
What?
It's a category blog.
Yeah, yeah. What we have done here, yeah, exactly. So I have this, and okay, this experience, let's move it to Joomla. This is a category block in Joomla. I mean, I have the title of the article, the content, the title, content, the title, the content, and I'm going to modify that view. Let's say that I don't want this to be this size. I don't know what size, at what header is. So this is a link inside the header too. Let's say that for SEO, I think that it's much more better that instead of being an H2, a header number 2, it's better to be a header number 1. Maybe it's a silly thing. I'm just going to change it. So I'm going to menu. I'm going to know where's that page into the Joomla engine. So to find that where's that page, I need to know what that main button is going. So the home button, the home menu, is a category, the kind is category block. This menu is calling an articles category block. Sorry, the type of this menu button inside Joomla is called to the component that handles the articles, that is the content, in a view of category block. What? Wait. I'm not anymore in the administrator. I'm in the site, and I'm going to components. I'm going to go to what component is the one that is showing articles in Joomla? Content. Content, okay. Content. Views, okay. Thank you. And now I have some folders: archive, article, categories, category, featured, and form. So what's the view that I need to choose? Wait, I have it in the administrator. It was the view called category block. Let me check the names. Category block, archive no, article no, categories or category. Okay, in that case I know that it's category. But you can try until you find the one that is. Inside templates, I have many files, but basically the one that you need to modify is the main one, because that main one might be calling other templates that form the global shape of everything. Maybe block is calling item when it needs block link. Well, let's open it and let's see it. Okay, so let me check if I'm in the right place. I'm going to add here a header 1 saying hello, and I'm going back to my website, and I have hello here, so that means that I'm in the right place. Okay, let's modify things. I'm going to delete that. Let's go through the code. First, let me see the page. Okay, at some point we find the title of the content, written by, and the content. This must be into a for each loop, because we are showing all the articles. Well, there's a lot of code here. Let's check the for. and for each. Here I have a first for each. The for each is saying for each k item into these intro items, do a loop. But I have no idea what's inside these intro items. So, you know, I'm not a coder. I don't know what's inside here. But I have a very good tool to know what's inside here. Who remembers what's the command?
Var Dump?
Yes, exactly, Var Dump. So I'm going to do a var dump of this variable called this intro items. Going to add you know, I cannot see anything.
Is that because of the line above it? It's not empty?
Maybe. Let's see.
That line was fine.
Okay. Oh, it says it's an array and it's empty. Empty because I put it up here. Let me put it at the end.
This is at the bottom.
Well, now it's showing, oh, the array is empty. Let's see what's the content. Okay, load template item. So yeah, I prepared that presentation in Joomla 2.5 and there are some changes here. Okay, let me go to one thing. This is saying this load template called item. When I, okay, 5 minutes. Block item. There's another file called block item that maybe has some cool things inside. The block item is the one, the template that it works on showing the item, every item inside the big loop. And here is doing, let's see what happens if I put here some things. Okay. You see, I have written hi, and since I'm inside the loop, it's appearing here and here and here. So I have things here, for example, if, that's a conditional in PHP that says, if show print icon is active, then it will show the print icon that you usually see in an article at the top. And there's going to be a lot of condition that depends on what you put in your params, in your Joomla administrator. Usually close content article manager options. So you have a lot of options in your article manager, and you can say show title, yes, show, or hide, or so as you see, what the code is doing is checking that properties and says if I should show the print icon, then show it. If not, then don't show it. So that's basically how the templates are done. And if you dig, we don't have time to really dig into it, but if you have the time, check it. It's not really complicated to understand. Basically, what you're going to find is objects, arrays, for each, and ifs. Do you think it's complicated?
If you change that H2 tag right there to H3 or H4, and then you update Joomla later, what happens?
Yeah, it's going to
Revert back to the...
yeah,
Okay.
revert back. So that's the last thing that I want to show you. The template overrides. what I'm going to do is go to the templates folder of your Joomla. You have always templates, and inside templates I see 3 folders, that it's bees, protostar, and system. If I go to my Joomla administrator, extensions, template manager, what I see is, well, I see more templates because I can see also the administrator templates, but I'm going to select and show only the site templates. Okay, the templates inside is B3 and protostar. If I check the folder, there are 2 main folders, that is B3 and protostar. Well, okay, system is not a template. I'm going to enter in B3, and you are template designer, so most of you have seen what's inside. But basically, you have the CSS folder where you have all the CSS, the image where you have all the image, and well, etc. But what I'm interested here is in a folder called HTML. The folder HTML contains the overrides of all the views of all your components and modules. Do you remember that inside a component there was a folder called views, and inside that folder there are all the things that we have seen here? Okay, so what the template override says is, if inside your template there is a folder called HTML, and inside it there is a folder with the name of the component or the module I want to override, Joomla, please read first that and forget about the other. If you have this here, this never going to change in Joomla. So if you upgrade Joomla, this is your own folder. Joomla is not going to modify this. Well, it's better that you have your own template and not your own copy of your template, because maybe we are upgrading these and you can get some changes here. But well, anyway, that folder is for you. And as you see here are, for example, overriding the module breadcrumbs. The breadcrumbs is that module that I put over the article that says you are in home, and then you are in that category, and then you are inside that. If I open that file, what I see is the PHP that does this this breadcrumb, and you can modify it. You can change the HTML here, but you will say, okay, Javier, that's very good, but I don't know how to create the first file. You didn't need to reinvent the wheel. You just go to your modules, okay, modules, mod breadcrumbs. I go to template and I copy that file and I put it in my template. Then I have the base to start working over it, and then I can modify it as much as I want, and when I update Joomla, nothing is going to happen. So this is the best way you can modify all your Joomla phase, even the administrator or the content. And I think we're done. Yeah. So, well, thank you very much. I hope you have enjoyed and you have good things for your work. If there's any questions.